It's your girl, Soft Rain. Real talk, no filter, no disguise. Every headline, I'm breaking it live. From the streets to the pressure up top. We see it all, yeah, we connect the dots. Weekly rain, yeah, we run it down. Truth hit different when it wear a crown. No fluff, no cap, just facts in sight. Welcome to the weekly rain report. Let's get into it tonight.
Disclaimer: this broadcast is intended for commentary, discussion, and entertainment purposes only. All topics and statements are based on publicly available information, including news reports, social media content, and third-party sources, which may include allegations or unverified claims. The views expressed are opinions and should not be interpreted as confirmed facts. This content is not intended to harm, defame, misrepresent any individual, organization, or entity. Viewer discretion is advised. Hey y'all, welcome in to a special edition of the Weekly Brain Report. I had some issues yesterday, so I couldn't bring this to you, and plus I wanted to give y'all a great show. So in doing so, we'll go ahead and get it in. I see Miss Muriel is in here. Thank you for coming in, Miss Muriel. Welcome in. So one ordinary morning, one routine purchase, one woman at work, and one transaction that would become her last transaction of her life. Her name was Alexis Hill. She was a mother, a grandmother, a sister, a friend, and according to investigators, she was working as the manager of a Dollar General store on Victory Drive in Columbus, Georgia, when a man walked in to buy hamburger buns. The total was $1.58. Minutes later, Alexis Hill was dead. The suspect, Jerome Willis, would later be found by police. The second encounter ended with Willis dead, a Columbus police officer injured, and a K9. His name was Havoc. K9 Havoc was shot in the line of duty. Then came words from Columbus Police Chief Stoney Mathis. They had the city talking. Of course, I'm not here to chase rumors. I'm here to follow the facts. Who was Alexis Hill? Who was Jerome Willis? And what happened inside that Dollar General? What happened during the manhunt? And why did K9 Havoc become part of the story? And of course, why did one statement from the police chief divide Columbus? I'm your girl, Soft Rain, and this is Soft Rain Investigates, the last transaction. Before I get to rolling in my first chapter, I see the numbers are going up. Make sure y'all hit that like button. Make sure you hit subscribe. Make sure you turn on your notifications so when I go live, you're here. Also, make sure if you're catching this on the rewatch to leave your comments in the comment section. I talk back. So we're going to get moving on with this and go into chapter 1. So before I talk about the suspect, I want to talk about who Alexis Hill is. She's not a headline. She was a person. She was 44 years old. She was a Dollar General store manager, a mother of 3, grandmother of 2, and she was loved by her family, friends, and people in the community who described her as sweet, as positive, hardworking, and full of spirit. You know, that matters because too often when violence happens, the victims' names become smaller while the suspect names become louder. So I'm not going to do that tonight. I'm going to keep Alexis Hill at the center, of course. She went to work. She did her job. And according to investigators, she was killed doing something as ordinary as ringing up a customer. And that's the heaviness of the story, the weight of the story, not the woman looking for trouble. She was working her shift. So I do want to pull up a snippet of her family talking about her on the local news. I'm gonna do that now. Hi, Cutest. Welcome in, Cutest. Appreciate you being here. So let me put that up on the screen, and we're gonna listen in a little bit of who Alexis Hill was. It's right here. I like it like that. So let's listen in.
Right here in Columbus, just sweet, kind, always willing to go out of her way to help someone and go the extra mile. You know, she'd give the shirt off her back if she needed to. She was always helping people. As far as I could see, I went off into the military and retired, and I came back in 2019. And ever since I've been back, she's been busy, busy with the children, busy with the grandchildren, and just helping everyone she could. I think one of the last things she did was, gather some supplies for someone that was in need. And so that was like one of her last, acts of kindness was, even up to the day was helping someone else. Mm-hmm. And then even at the crime scene, I got, droves of people were coming over and just telling us, how wonderful she was and how helpful she was and how she donated, things to charity and everything. So, she can't be replaced. It's just a loss that, I'm going to have to deal with and the family's going to have to deal with, and we can't replace her. It's just a part of us that's just going to be gone until, we reunite with her in heaven. Yeah. So, yeah.
And she had 3 sons.
3 sons.
And 2 grandkids.
2 grandchildren, yeah.
Talk a little bit about her 3 sons. I know they don't.
I want to get to her children, even though her children are important as well, but we're going to focus directly on her tonight and the situation and what happened. So we're going to move on to our next chapter, chapter 2. So I want to walk through what investigators and local reporting is saying that happened on this day. I'm going to go over the GBI report, the Georgia Bureau of Investigation report as well. I'll bring that up on the screen, and I want to read it with you so we can understand what's going on with the whole situation. So on the morning of June 23rd, which was this past Tuesday, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, officers were called to Dollar General on Victory Drive near Marathon Drive in Columbus, Georgia. Investigators say a man entered the store and bought hamburger buns to the register, or brought them to the register, and that total came up to $1.58. According to reporting citing the Muskogee County Coroner's Office, the man handed Alexis 2 crumpled up $1 bills. As she straightened the money to place it into the register, investigators say he stepped to the side, pulled out a gun, and then ended her life. There isn't a motive. There's no confirmed prior relationships with them. No known explanation has been released by the police that tells the public why she was targeted. That's one of the most painful parts of this story, is because we question everyone, and what the answer, well, the question that everyone keeps asking is why her, why there, and why during that purchase it cost less than $2. So at this point, that answer has not been publicly released yet. Of course, the investigation is ongoing, and until investigators provide more, we have to be careful not to fill in the blanks with, rumor or our own narratives. What we do know is that Alexis Hill, she died at the scene, and after that shooting, the search for the suspect began. So I do want to read the GBI report. I'm going to read it no, I'm not going to read the report right now because it tells the whole story. But we're going to get into who Jerome Willis is, the suspect. So Jerome Willis is the man that has been identified by authorities as a suspect. According to the Georgia Bureau of Investigation release, he is identified as Jerome Marquis Willis, 33. In the Georgia Department of Corrections records provided for this report, his listed name is Jerome Marquis Willis, which he has various aliases. And this is important because public records can list names differently, so we need to be precise, right? Now, based on the GDC offender record screenshots reviewed for this report, Willis has a long criminal history. As a matter of fact, I'm going to pull it up. His record shows convictions and sentences connected to robbery, obstruction of law enforcement officers, simple assault, terroristic threats, theft by receiving stolen property, possession of a firearm, possession of marijuana, and other misdemeanor offenses. And his record also showed multiple incarceration periods along the years. So most importantly, his actual release date of his most recent incarceration is May 21st of this year, 2026. So just over a little month later, she was killed. So I want to be careful because, criminal history does not automatically prove motive. Okay. A prior conviction does not explain this killing by itself. And not every person released from prison is dangerous. But I do want to pull up his Georgia offender search, and I want to roll through it because I'm not gonna say flabbergasted, but I was just in shock because I'm wondering how somebody you have people with offenses where they're like, oh, third strike, you're out, you're going in for life, you're a habitual offender, you're going to always be an offender, you're not straightening up your life, you've been in and out of prison since you were 18 years old committing all these crimes, so and you're not doing any better, so why I know somebody personal who got hit by that third strike and he's in for life, so I'm wondering why did that not apply, and this is my personal opinion, but I'm wondering why that did not apply to his case. So I'm going to pull up. I wonder if I can make this smaller, so y'all can. Yeah, buddy, there we go. Oh, there we go. So I want to specifically go down. You can see his long rap sheet, right? But I want to specifically go down to his incarceration history. Now, mind you, this man is 33 years old. His first known incarceration was back in 2010, right? So he was, let me see. He was born in 93, so 2010, that makes him how old? Let me do some quick math. 17. So it started at 17. Now, I don't know if he had like a juvenile record or whatnot, but in 2010, okay, why did that? Okay, something else was playing. So in 2010, he served 2 years. He got out in 2012, in April of 2012. By November of 2012, he was back in and served until 2015, September of 2015. He stayed out almost a full year in 2016 and was back in. Well, no, yeah, he was back in 2016. Then he was back out in 2018. Then he was back in 2019, not even a full year later. Then he was back in 2022, and his most recent incarceration began in 24. So he was out a good little two little years, and then he was released in 26. So my thing is, if this person has all this history of a crime-ridden history, then what, I'm not understanding. Is he just like a perfect angel in prison where he gets off on good behavior or something? you know? So I'm not understanding that at all when it comes to that part. So I believe in this case, though, criminal history is relevant, especially with his long rap sheet, especially with him being in and out of prison since he was 17 years old. You know, it raises real investigative questions. Was he on supervision? Was he connected to any reentry services? Was there warning signs? Was he legally allowed to possess a firearm? How does someone with prior firearm related convictions allegedly end up armed again? But I will say this. Anybody that wants a firearm will go looking for a firearm, even if it's in an illegal way. So, and we're still trying to figure out if this is like a random act or was there missed opportunities before she was unalived. So these are not just assumptions, they're questions. You know, when a woman is killed at work just weeks after a suspect's released from prison, he wasn't even out a full month. Well, a little bit over a month, he was out. $1.58 hamburger buns. Yeah, so we're going to move on to chapter 4. And this is where I'm going to read the actual GBI report that they released too. So chapter 4, we're going to talk about the manhunt. So I see y'all comments. Hold on, y'all. Let me see. What's up, Tristan? I thank you for stopping in. Mariel said they should have kept him in after 2018. They need to keep repeat offenders behind bars. Definitely. I'm not talking about Carmelo at this time. I appreciate you coming in and leaving a comment. I do have, if you want to check out some prior content, some collaborations that I did with Souls of Thought. We talked about Carmelo. Go over to my collaborations tab on my page and you can see it, or you can go over to his YouTube page. His YouTube page is Souls of Thought, and you can see it there as well. But I'm not giving my opinion on Carmelo today, but I appreciate your comment. I appreciate your view. And hit that like button and hit subscribe since you're in here. And yes, Tristan said, y'all hit the like button for my good sis. Thank you, Tristan. I appreciate you. So moving on to the manhunt. So after she was unalived, Columbus police began searching for him. According to the GBI, officers located him around 11:40 a.m. in the parking lot of an apartment complex that was down not too far from where this happened. The GBI says officers gave Willis verbal commands and he did not comply. Then officers released the K9 Havoc to apprehend him. And this is when the encounter escalated. So according to the GBI, Willis produced a gun, shot towards the K9, and continued pointing the weapon at officers. Officers then fired several shots. Willis was hit multiple times and pronounced dead on the scene. One Columbus police officer was shot and later released from the hospital, and K9 Havoc was taken to a veterinary hospital and later life flighted for emergency care. So the GBI is now conducting the independent investigation on everything. And once that investigation is complete, the case is expected to go to the Chattahoochee Judicial Circuit District Attorney's Office for review. So right now, this is where you have to separate emotion from evidence, right? So the police account says this was a deadly force encounter after Willis allegedly fired and continued pointing a gun. But the public has not seen all the evidence. We do not yet have the body camera footage, and we don't have the final GBI report, and we don't have the final review of the district attorney's office either. So that means the responsible position is this is preliminary facts. They support the preliminary facts support why the officers say they fired their gun. But of course, the full investigation still matters. I'm going to pull up the GBI report right quick to see if it says anything different than what I just stated, but I don't think so. So I'm gonna do it like this. So it's easier to, there we go. So it's easy to read. So it says 1 police officer and 1 canine. Oh yeah, so 1 police officer was, I think if I'm not mistaken, they grazed his face. The suspect grazed his face. Was shot during the, and this is coming from the GBI website, y'all. So this is straight from the GBI website. Trying to think of something different in here. So they're taking his body to the GBI crime lab where an autopsy will be conducted. And of course, the investigation is ongoing. And the GBI is going to conduct an independent investigation. So yeah, but everything that's said in this report is everything that I just said. But I want y'all to see that I am pulling up this information from the actual GBI report. So yeah, so we did that. So moving forward, let me see. Chapter 5, y'all. Chapter 5. So this had my city divided. So after all this happened, and it was an uproar on Facebook. And after all this happened, during the news coverage, Columbus Police Department, the police chief, Stoney Mathis, made a comment that quickly spread across the city. He said, and I quote, "You commit murder in the city of Columbus, and then you shoot 2 of my police officers. We are going to kill you." End quote. As a matter of fact, let's go ahead and look at that. Let's see. I'm going to play this video because this is where the controversy came from. And then we're going to go from there. So let me, I'm going to play this video. And because this gives the whole rundown of why it became controversial type deal. So there we go. So we're gonna listen to Terrence Flowers. He's a citizen of Columbus that he has his own podcast and whatnot, but he always does great commentary on things. So I'm gonna make sure I link this and all the supporting information links in the description, so y'all can go back and check it if y'all need to.
What do you think about Sheriff Greg Countryman's response to a deputy-involved shooting versus CPD Chief Stoney Mathis' response to an officer-involved shooting? Roll the clip.
We will not back down from you. We will engage you, and we will neutralize the threat. We want you to know that because we don't take this.
And I can tell you this. Commit murder in the city of Columbus, and then you shoot 2 of my police officers, we're going to kill you.
I think we can say that the same message was sent to would-be bad guys, just in a different tone. Different words were used. When you're dealing with the public, I think you should be professional and neutral at all times. You're not the judge, jury, and executioner. You are a law enforcement official. What do you guys think about these 2 law enforcement officials' comments, and which one do you think was more appropriate?
Now, my personal opinion on that, okay, is the same thing was said, just using different words. That's all. Emotions were high at the time that Stoney Mathis said what he said. Greg Countryman, the sheriff office guy, he was reading from a script. No emotions were involved. You got to look at it as, and I understand that some officers, at all times, you need to remain professional and keep your emotions out of it and whatnot. But it had my city in an uproar. that one statement. Some people heard strength, other people heard accountability. Some people heard a police chief saying that if you murder someone and then fire at police, officers will respond with deadly force. And I think rightfully so. But others heard something different. Others heard language that sounded like retaliation type deal. They heard a public official say, we're going to kill you, instead of we will stop you. We will protect the city, or you will face justice. And so that's why this moment matters, because leaders are not just responsible for what they mean, they are responsible for how their words land in a grieving community as well. So now, to be fair, Chief Mathis also asked the community to pray. He asked for prayers for Alexis Hill's family. He asked for prayers for the injured officer, and he asked for prayers for K9 Havoc. So it would not be accurate if to say that he ignored Alexis Hill. It's fair to ask whether the strongest quote from that moment centered on justice or vengeance. That's the tension. That's the tension. If you are catching this on a rewatch, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe button, and make sure you leave your comments down in the comment section, because I'll talk back. Okay. So let's see. Tristan said, even though I think it's smart to wait for the evidence and all the information, I don't think it's smart to point a gun. Absolutely. It's not smart at all to point a gun at officers. It's not. He also said they basically said the same thing. If you say that you're neutralizing a threat, that's exactly what that means. Absolutely. Word choices, word choices. Tristan said, Rain, I think that it's not just tone, but it's race too. I think that played a big role. Tristan. It had my city in an uproar. That one video right there has over 400 comments on it. A lot of people were agreeing with Stoney, aligning with the police chief. A lot of people were disagreeing, saying that he should have chose better words. But at that time, in an incident as that, that was a tough incident that went on. You know, you're chasing down a murder suspect. On top of that, he's pointing at you and he's already injured. Canines are official police. They look at them like they're police as well. So they're not just a dog, you know, they are official policemen too as well. So Mario said it's about the etiquette and staying professional. I understand that, Mario. I understand. And Tristan said, just looking at these videos and the initial thoughts speak volumes to people who are emotional. Absolutely. Absolutely. They're also not taking into account that woman lost her life. Yes. $1.58. $1.58. As a matter of fact, let me pull up. I think I have another video where you can see him saying it. Let's see. We're gonna watch. Okay, we're gonna watch this one right here. Let me pull this up and we'll watch this one, then we'll move on to my next segment. I don't want to stay here too long, y'all. Share this tab. All right, let's watch. We're gonna watch this part of the news segment. I think this is when it initially broke. It initially came out. So we'll watch this one together.
Violence at two scenes in Columbus today.
And I can tell you this, you commit murder in the city of Columbus, and then you shoot 2 of my police officers, we're going to kill you.
The message tonight from Columbus Police Chief Stoney Mathis after 2 deadly shootings in the city today. We now know they are connected. The first left a woman dead at a Dollar General on Victory Drive in Columbus.
And a second shooting on Baker Plaza Drive in Columbus, leaving a Columbus police officer and K9 injured. That officer involved shooting, also leaving the man believed to be the suspect in the first shooting dead. The K9 airlifted to an Auburn veterinary facility for treatment.
We have had several crews working these deadly shootings all day, beginning with the first one this morning at the Dollar General on Victory Drive. This is near Marathon Drive. Muskogee County Coroner Buddy Bryan late today identifying the woman killed as a manager of that Dollar General store. News at 9's Amaya Graham was on the scene earlier today gathering details. She joins us now live from that second scene, Baker Plaza off of Fort Benning Road. Amaya, it has been a tough day for the community there. What did you learn today about what happened?
Well, Barbara, the Columbus Police Department tells me the victim in this case, like you said, was a Dollar General manager. Officers were called to the scene there around 10 this morning. And I'm going to step out of the way so you can see what's going on here. And the suspect now dead after an officer-involved shooting near Baker Plaza. That scene still active with GBI investigating. According to Columbus police, a deadly shooting inside.
Let me see if they.
With black face paint on, and 5 minutes later, we heard the shot.
One suspicious just minutes before hearing the gunfire.
I just seen the guy walk past with black face paint on, and 5 minutes later, we heard the shot.
Police began searching the area, and about 2 hours later, officers spotted the suspect near Baker Plaza. That's where police say the suspect opened fire on officers, injuring an officer and a canine.
We got a perpetrator that is deceased, and it's going to be the same perpetrator that was just committed murder right down the street at Dollar General. And I can tell you this. You commit murder in the city of Columbus, and then you shoot 2 of my police officers, we're going to kill you.
According to the Muskogee County coroner, Buddy Bryan, a man came in to buy hamburger buns. They rang up as $1.58. The man handed her a crumpled up $2. As she was straightening them out to put in the drawer, the suspect stepped to his right and shot her in the head. So far, the Columbus Police Department have not yet shared details of the shooting from investigators. For the people who work in the shopping complex, the shooting has raised a new.
Let's see what the gentleman.
He's in there working alone around all that cash. It's probably something they need to think about, because I've been here 7 years, and that Dollar General's been robbed at least 15 times.
Mathis asking the community to pray for the victim's family and the injured officer and canine named Havoc.
Pray for the police officer and the dog. That we consider our canines as police officers, and I'd ask all the citizens to pray for the police officer and the canine.
Now that officer and the canine are. As Chief Mathis says, with the officer injured as well as the canine, as well as the victim and her family as well. All right, Amaya, thank you.
Yeah, so that was the initial news report. Tristan said at the dollar store is crazy. Yes, it is crazy. Now, I will say this. The location of this Dollar General is on the south side of Columbus. The south side of Columbus is not the best side of Columbus. So, and like the gentleman said that was being interviewed, he said that their store had been robbed close to 15 times or so. So, yeah, this. So the next chapter, I'm gonna move on to my next chapter. It's gonna be chapter 6. Is it 6? I have my notes. Yeah, chapter 6. We're gonna talk about Canine Havoc. So Canine Havoc, he became one of the emotional parts of the case. Not the most emotional part of the case, but I will say, according to the GBI, Havoc was released after Willis did not comply with his commands, with the officer's commands. The GBI says that Willis then shot towards the canine, and Havoc was injured and later transported for emergency veterinary care. And he has been released, and he returned home. They actually life flighted him out to Auburn University to have surgery on, I think it was his front shoulder, if I'm not mistaken. So he's expected to make a full recovery in about 3 months or so. Some people celebrated Havoc's survival. Some saw Havoc as a hero, and some felt the dog and the injured officer deserved public support, and they do. But others felt public conversation shifted too quickly away from Alexis Hill, and that concern also deserves to be heard as well. But two things can be true at the same time. We can be thankful that Canine Havoc survived. We can care about the injured officer as well, and we can still say Alexis Hill's life must remain at the center of the story. So I'm gonna play. Yeah, I'll play this one. Well, no, I want to. Where is it at? Oh, I know where it is, y'all. Hold on. Classic still live. So I'm gonna play this one. I mean, y'all can see where he was life flighted to Auburn. And they put him in the ambulance as well. So canines guards are just as important as officers. You know, they serve a purpose. So there he goes in there. And then I do have one more where he was released. You can see him. Thankfully, he was released. That's it. Yeah.
At a mobile price won't.
It's gonna show. I didn't want it to do that, y'all. Hold on.
And the K-9 officer wounded in that same incident is now back in Columbus. Havoc was escorted back today after recovering from surgery. As you can see, he was discharged from the Bailey Small Animal Teaching Hospital at Auburn University. Columbus police say his surgery went better than expected. His handler, Corporal Brent Wilson, never left his side during the recovery. As you can see, that escort was with Lee County Sheriff's Office, Auburn PD, Opelika PD, as well as Columbus Police Department's motor.
So he got the ride home that he deserved. Mariel said a senseless death for no reason. Absolutely no reason at all. None. Just said they're gonna pull the business out the hood. Then they'll get mad and protest when employees can't be safe at work. Yeah, I mean, I think that if we're going to have businesses down on that end anyways, that there needs to be some security involved. I think Dollar General specifically should have had a officer there at all times, their own personal security if they're going to operate on that end of town. If you ask my personal opinion. So my last segment, y'all, is gonna be the question. So yeah, we still got a ton of questions that still need answers, right? One, what was the motive? So the police have not publicly released the motive yet. And without a motive, the community is left with grief and confusion. The next question would be like, did Alexis Hill and Jerome Willis know each other? Now, family members indicated saying that they didn't know each other. So investigators have not released a full public explanation yet if there was a relationship. Another question would be, what did surveillance footage show, like start to finish? And question 4 would be, what supervision existed after Willis's release? So if the Georgia Department of Corrections record is accurate of Willis and he was released on May 21st, then the public needs to know what supervision or reentry structure existed between that date and the day that Alexis Hill was unalive. You know, how did he have a gun? So given prior firearm related convictions, that's one of the biggest questions. But being on the South Side, he probably knowingly knew where to go get a gun from. I'm wondering when they're gonna release the body cam footage of the officers, and how will the district attorney review end up? So the officer involved shooting will not be fully resolved publicly until the investigative review process is complete. So yeah, I think, you know, it's sad. It really is sad. I didn't want to bring this up, but it's sad. There might be potential conflicts and pressure points that need to be named. First, Columbus Police was directly involved in the fatal shooting of Jerome. That's why the GBI investigation matters. Secondly, the DA's office will review the GBI case file. Prosecutors are going to work closely with police agencies, so transparency is important for trust. And thirdly, Dollar General, workplace safety questions. What security existed in that store? Were employees working alone? Was she there alone? Every time I've gone in Dollar General, there's only been like 1 to 2 people in there, working. So had there been prior robberies or safety complaints? What support is being provided by the staff or being provided to the staff and family? They do have a GoFundMe up. I will be posting that link in the description. So if you would like to contribute to the GoFundMe, then you can do so by clicking that link in the description. I'll get it on there sometime this evening. Of course, media coverage can unintentionally shift the focus. The phrase "killed over $1.58" is powerful, but we all know her life was worth much more than that. So that framing has to be used carefully. So let me see. Tristan says certain people can't be rehabilitated. People like this know how to get a pew and know where to find it. Definitely, Tristan. They know it. Were you in here when I read his rap sheet down, Tristan, and how he had been in and out of jail since he was 17? I'm wondering, does he have a youth record as well? So Tristan says safety shouldn't be an afterthought. There's only so much a company can do to ensure safety, but those measures need to be in place first. Okay, Tristan. So you did catch his rap sheet. I mean, the longest he was out was 2 years straight, I think. But since him being 17 and on, he had been in and out of jail, And it's, my thing is, what did the system fail? Did the system fail Alexis Hill? Did Dollar General fail Alexis Hill? What's really going on? This story is very painful because it touches so many layers at one time. It's a murder story. It's a workplace safety story. It's a criminal justice story, a policing story, a public trust story. And most importantly, it's a story about Alexis Hill, a woman who went to work and did not come home. And when we talk about Jerome Willis, we are not making him the center of it. I'm asking whether there were warning signs. When we talk about K9 Havoc, we're not minimizing Alexis. We're acknowledging every life is impacted by that violent morning. When we talk about Chief Mathis, his statement, we're not ignoring the dangers the officers face. We're asking whether leadership language should calm a community or inflame one. And because justice is not just about what happens at the because justice is not just about what happens after tragedy. Justice is also about how we speak, how we investigate, and how we remember, how we prevent the next family from receiving that phone call. So Tristan said, I think he is ultimately responsible. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. So y'all, that is my weekly rain report, a special report. We're going to keep Alexis and her family in our prayers, her 3 sons, her 2 grandbabies, and a life was lost due to a senseless act. Yeah. Mira said they both failed her. Prayers for her family and friends. Absolutely. Absolutely. And like I said, if y'all want to contribute to the GoFundMe for her burial and other family expenses, then do so. I'm going to put the link down in the description. So tonight, we remember Alexis Hill, not as a headline, not as a number, not as the woman killed over $1.58, but as a mother, a grandmother, a worker, a loved one, a life that mattered. The GBI investigation into the officer-involved shooting remains active. If more evidence becomes public, surveillance video, body cam footage, final investigative findings, or updates from the district attorney's review, we'll continue following all that story. If I get any updates, I'll make sure I bring them to y'all. This is not about chasing outrage because the city was divided by that statement. It's about asking questions that still need answers for Alexis Hill, for her family, for Columbus. So I appreciate everybody that was in here tonight. Miss Mariel stopped in, Tristan stopped in, I think Classic is still live, so y'all head back over to his page. Don't forget, tonight we have No Middleman panel. I think we are going on at like 9:50 Eastern. Let me see. Hold on, y'all. I'm going to tell y'all exactly. When we going live tonight for the No Middleman panel. Yep, 9:50 Eastern, 8:50 Central. So make sure y'all tap in. Tristan said, we appreciate you, Rain. Great show. Thank you, Tristan. Thank you for tapping in with me and staying with me. So yeah, I'm your girl, Soft Rain. And this has been Soft Rain Investigates The Last Transaction. If you are catching this on the rewatch, make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. And make sure you leave a comment down in the comment box. I'll catch y'all next time.
It's your girl, Soft Rain. Real talk, no filter, no disguise. Every headline, I'm breaking it live. From the streets to the pressure up top. We see it all, yeah, we connect the dots. Weekly, right, yeah, we run it down. Truth hit different when they wear a crown. No fluff, no cap, just facts in sight. Welcome to the weekly rain report. Let's get into it tonight.